you'll often find that a lot of the local marinas will probably have some sort of a Coast Guard or a voluntary marine rescue organisation associated with that marina complex. Also going hand in hand with that is the training, so radio courses and sometimes licensing courses can be accompanied with that. So going back to that, the boatie that might be thinking about getting into that lifestyle, great way to get down to the local marina, find out a little bit more about how to access the water with further training and some courses as well.
And can you just knock on a door? Is it just open door policy, and are people that friendly?
Well, there's always a marina manager's office, so first port of call, just go to the office there, and they're a hub of information, and they can basically field any question there.
And when you're buying a boat of this calibre, I'd imagine that would be something that would be very important in the sales process and in the mindset of the buyer to be aware of. That do you have dealer support up and down the coast where you're looking at boating? Because we hear of horror stories of some boats coming in from overseas, and the dealer networks and the repair networks not really being established, and people being a bit stranded. And do you find with this particular brand of boat that that's definitely not the case?
You're always a phone call away from help.
Yep.
And as a dealer myself, a Riviera dealer myself, we often take guided tours up the coast. We might take 7 or 8 boats in a convoy up there, people who haven't been out offshore a lot, and just give them the confidence to use their boats in that environment.
Wonderful. So that would be an amazing tool then for those people that might be thinking of maybe having an investment property, but then seeing the virtues that a boat like this can give, the degree of flexibility to maybe potter around here for a few days, or south of the bay or north of the bay, and but knowing that they want to move north with a lack of confidence, people like yourself do organise these tag-along tours.
That's right. Yeah, and it's we've got people who would never have ventured up to the Whitsundays or up to the Barrier Reef who feel very comfortable, and once they've done it with us, sometimes they'll come back on their own, knowing they're only a phone call away from a bit of support. And the modern electronics being what they are today, it makes it very achievable for most people.
That's a wonderful service to supply your clientele. No, that's great. Congratulations. And again, that reinforces the brand, I'm sure, to those buyers and owners. When you get to the likes of Hamilton Island, obviously that's a part of the Whitsunday group there, and it's becoming obviously a favoured hotspot now with the sailing regatta guys and becoming well known. And do you stay in the actual marina there, or do you find that you and your family are spreading out a bit more?
We arrive at the marina, and you can always use the marina as a base because you've got an airport there you can fly in and out to. But the islands around the Whitsundays, it's only a matter of an hour's trip to any sort of place, and you've always got a protected anchorage there, and you've got at all the anchorages you've got the ability to go snorkeling, fishing, whatever you want to do. Just enjoy the glories of the Great Barrier Reef and its inner areas can be.
Have to offer. And go on, give us your secret spot up there that you like to get away to and avoid the crowds.
We have a little favourite up there called Thomas Island.
Thomas Island?
It's in the southern part of the Whitsundays, and it doesn't have a lot of people down there. You get down there, sometimes you're the only boat there.
Lovely.
It can be great.
Yeah, so a few days there by you on your own would just be like heaven.
That's right.
Perfect. Rod, have your boating and your passion with boats, has it ever taken you overseas for the trips abroad?
No, I haven't done any boating overseas. I've watched a lot of trips about it, and I've got friends that have gone chartering yachts and that overseas, but I've always found enough to do on the east coast of Australia to keep me busy.
Absolutely. Like, we're out here today on Moreton Bay, and I mean there's a handful of boats sputtering around the place and moored, but I mean, have you been venturing down to the south of the bay as well? Well,
you've got this 60 miles of boating up here in Moreton Bay, right from the top of Moreton Island down to Southport, and there's just a myriad of channels and plenty of places to go and hide, and some lovely little spots to stay down here.
Yeah, absolutely. I know one of our family favourites is a little area called the Bedrooms there down in the jumping pin area with the smaller boat. We can get in over the shallows, and which is lovely. And we often see a lot of these beautiful big cruises along the northern end there of South Straddy.
That's right.
And do you meet up with other colleagues and other owners down there?
Yeah, we do. We're Brisbane based, we come from Cleveland, but we've got a lot of friends on the Gold Coast who do their boating down there, so often we meet them down there in those sort of areas. Tiger Mullet Channel, the Bedrooms, Wave Break Island, there's 1,000 places to go.
Yeah. Absolutely. And for those people that are worried about the rolling motion of such boats, we're sitting here, and as you probably see in the cameras, the boat just isn't moving. So imagine that in some of these more protected areas, it really would be like an apartment on water. It really wouldn't be moving at all.
Well, it's a fairly calm day today, but we are still fairly exposed where we're sitting at the moment.
Yeah.
But once the boat does get into a protected anchorage, it just stays
Just
still.
rock solid.
That's right, yes.
Yeah. The anchoring of such a vessel of this size too, when you're on your own vessel, I imagine there'd be a lot of skills that you would be required to have. Is there a provision there for training and to help those people attain those skills?
Anyone that buys a boat through our dealership, or indeed any of the Riviera dealerships, are always given the ample training to drive the boat and operate the boat in a safe manner.
Yes.
And know how much anchoring chain they need to put out and all the rest of it. But you know, there's formulas for anchor chain, and we always try to exceed those formulas, and the boat always stays safely anchored.
Wonderful, wonderful.
We haven't any little trips off into the middle of the night anywhere.
I noticed the dinghy up on the davit up the front there.
Yeah.
So obviously we've got beautiful protected waterways down the southern end of the bay, and obviously maybe that would be a little bit crowded on the good days to the smaller craft. Heading north, where's some good spots to run at the northern end of the bay?
Well, you've obviously got Tangalooma and up the top there, but it's all dependent on wind conditions. Like, you like to have something with an easterly wind in it, like a northeasterly through to the southeasterly quadrant. Will give you good protection along the inside of Moreton Island, and obviously a lot of people love that part of the area, world up there. It's less crowded, water's very, very clear, and beautiful sandy beaches and all the delights of Moreton Island. And then you come back down here, down to the North Stradbroke Island, you've got the same right along here.
So if it's a beautiful day and you think, hang on, let's go, where would be your pick to run around in the Moreton Bay, the 60-mile stretch? Where would be your place to run?
Well, we'd go somewhere up on Moreton Island, down the inside of Moreton Island, between the sand hills there, the large sand hills, and up as far as Tangalooma. And along there's some beautiful little spots along there with beautiful white sandy beaches, very clear, clean water, and just a delight to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And imagine up in those areas too, because there's less traffic, again, getting back to seeing some of the marine life, things like maybe dugongs and turtles would be around?
Well, on the southern part of that, down there, the big sand hills, there's a lot of dugongs and turtles and that sort of thing. In fact, the powers that be have got speed limits in place there now so that the animals don't get injured. Lovely,
yeah. And if you ever get the opportunity to see a sea cow or a dugong come up beside the boat, you'll remember it, because they have a head and it's a lot uglier than a cow.
It's better than my head, though.
Yeah.
It's funny when you talk about that. Last night we were out in an anchorage in Horseshoe Bay here last night, and just after dark I was standing in the back of the cockpit and you could hear the dolphins breathing in and out as they walked around the boat, so they came in really close.
Lovely, yeah. So obviously that's something we haven't touched on, you know, the overnighting aspect of a boat of this size. We've mentioned we've got facilities for people for 6 berths. And what sort of comfort can you put the people into? Say it's a hot, balmy 30 degree summer's night here in Brisbane. Do we have air conditioning and fans on boats of this size?
Well, we have the great natural fan. Is obviously a boat always hangs into the breeze, and you can open the hatches and you'll get the breeze comes right through the boat. On those hot still nights, well, we have the ability to run the generator and have fully air conditioned boat.
Wow. So for those people that might be a little bit you know, a little bit restless during their sleep, a boat of this calibre certainly can make it very, very comfortable.
That's right. Well, our Riviera range, right from our small boats, 36-foot boats up, are all equipped with air conditioning, so it's available for everyone.
And I noticed behind me here is the barbecue, and in the galley bench there is a rather flash-looking cappuccino machine.
Yeah.
So breakfast, you'd be the envy of the boat next door to you that's been drinking the rum overnight, and he's having a cold sandwich for brekkie.
Yeah, they still have a good time though. They're on the water.
Absolutely, that's the key to it. That's the key to it. All good mariners are always aware of their surroundings and the change in weather. As you can see, we've got a northerly storm coming down the bay, and just need to be aware of that. Although on a boat of this size, we don't really need to be overly concerned. It still pays to be pertinent. So we're heading back to harbour, but we might see some rain on the windscreen. As a fairly experienced trailer boat owner, reversing my boat and bringing it into confined spaces is quite easy. But I must admit, there was an air of nervousness around me as we were reversing into the berth. Rod assures me it's simpler than doing this in a 20-foot trailer boat. And have a look at this. Here we are bringing this magnificent 56-foot boat into a very tight quarter, but with the benefit and the aid of a bow thruster and stern thrusters and dual engines, Rod has made this look really easy. Well, what an amazing day. Thanks very much, Rod and Julie from Brisbane Riviera, for showcasing this vessel to Anita and I today. The 56-foot Riv, what a machine, and I just still can't get over how easy that was to get it in and out of the berth.